Do you think that people can change? There's usually a very polarized ideas on this. Some say, no ways, you can't, no one can change, it's not possible. And others say you can. I believe you can change. But who knows, right? Today I've got Richard Ozuna again with me, and this is our topic for today. Because of things that have happened and life that just happens during just life every day, right? You realize and your perceptions change about things anyway. So sit back, relax, grab your coffee. This is going to be a good one. But most of all, I'd like your opinion on this as well. So weigh it in. Hey, Richard, how are you today?
I'm good. Good morning. Thank you so much, Carina. It feels so good to be here again. It's it's always inspiring. It's always good talking to you, and I thank you again for having me on your program and this break fear, find freedom. Until I saw the title and I realized that's what I've been doing all along without even realizing it. And such a profound title, and it makes so much sense. And if everyone were to use that, break the fear, find your freedom. I use that in many ways. And again, it feels so good to be here. Thank you.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you for being here, and thank you for your kind words. It's I appreciate it.
Oh,
So
absolutely.
tell me then, what do you think, Richard? Can people change?
Oh yeah. How can I tell you? Where do I begin? Um, it's so strange because life is given to you and you do with it as you will. Sometimes in life you are given some older people that will give you guidance. Sometimes you'll have older people that will not guide you. So it's always a lesson and a life you live through someone else's decision for the most part in the beginning. But then you start to begin to realize as you go through life and you're making your own decisions, some bad, some good, and then some really bad. And sometimes when you're going through life, and this I believe everybody can relate to this, there had to have been someone, whether it's a family member, friend, or whoever, that when you were going through your madness in addiction, in your active years of addiction, drinking, doping it up, and just doing crazy things, the people in the background were always speaking, this guy's or this girl is just no good. You're never going to change. That that was that was a that was a label that I think I was given for the longest time. And I'm only speaking on me on this part, but I know a lot of people can relate out there because people are people. Humans do human things, and they say things that are disturbing, degrading. But for the most part, I lived with that until I didn't, until I broke that stigma. My belief is yes, people change. It may not be the time that you want it, but in time, and there's a right season, that people do change for the better.
Okay, I love that. I just want to go back for a moment as I was thinking about how obviously as a substance user, you you get that stigmatization. Okay, We'll just leave it at that. However,
Yes.
if you take a step back and you turn around and you look at the people around you, a lot of times they screaming and shouting and abusing. I'm putting it in inverted commas, okay, because that's I'm using it very broadly. All right.
Beautiful.
They a lot of times they're doing that because they're so afraid, because they don't know what to do. They've lost track. They don't know how to help you. So the only way that some people know how to do anything is to react. And I'm not encouraging anything, and I'm not supporting anything, and I'm not condoning that behavior, because it's not cool. But just as a broader sense, just to see the bigger pattern, that's what happens. Now I'm going to take it just a step further and say, just for this, once you became sober and recovered, how did the other people behave towards you? Did their behavior change in any way? Or
You
did
know,
the so-called abuse and stigmatization continue?
that's yeah, that's a good question. That's a great question. I haven't really been really close to um, my immediate family, so I really didn't gauge it all. But for the most part, I would say 80, 95% of the ones that that I've been in contact with in the past 21 years and coming up on 8 months clean and sober on April 10th. I'm sorry, 21 years and 8 months, December 10th. Just in
Congratulations.
days, there's only been a couple that I can truly hear and know that they support and they acknowledge. Maybe not as much as I do, because I remind myself I remind myself the journey I'm on, and I share that with everyone. Um, but for the most part, there are some that still have that they're still living 20, 23 years ago, 24 years ago, 25 years ago. They're still living in that time. And case in point, I was able to visit a relative probably about a month ago. And again, in speaking to this person, there was just this glaze in his face that was stuck. No emotion, stoic. I mean, to me, he just looked dead behind the eyes. Had no sense of the future, had no sense of the change. And so no matter what I was throwing at him, and trying to share some things of what I've gone through on my sober journey, it it didn't resonate. And I could truly tell you that I just felt like it was just like I could have had a better conversation talking to the wall. I would have probably felt a hell of a lot better talking to the wall, because I left there with the sense of like I was kind of numb in a sense, because of the fact that this visit made no sense. Did he even hear what I had to say? Did I even exist in his mind? So yeah, it's hard. It's hard when you're going through change and you're bettering yourself. Not everyone's going to agree with you, because I can truly tell you that some people want you back to where you were, because that makes them significant in a way. That really justifies their life in a way of saying, I told you, or I knew you would never change. People are people, and they do, and say disgusting things. I'm not I'm not here to change someone's mind about me. I'm here to help others change the minds of how they feel about themselves, to better themselves, to lift them, and to bring them into the world that they truly deserve to live in a happy life, you know. And if we all went around trying to change another's mind of who we used to be, that's not a place where I want to be. So
Uh,
yeah, so I use action is what I'm trying to get at. I just use actions, and that's it.
I love that because that's the only way you can, because there's so much out there with social media as well. You don't know what's real and what's not, you know. So the only way
Right.
you're going to show anything is actions, because actions speak louder than words. And also when you were speaking about going back and speaking to this person, the quote came into my head was, people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. So sometimes, I've experienced that throughout my life. As I grow, I lose a lot of friends and a lot of people along the way. And you can't hold on to them because people grow and in different ways. And as you grow, then you don't resonate with those people anymore because you're on different levels, so to speak, or different paths. That's a better term. You
Yeah.
grow on different paths, and that's just the way it is. I think you need to be happy that those people were in our lives for that time, and bless them, and be thankful for the time that you spent together, and know that this time is over and it's time for new adventures with new people. What do you think about that?
Oh, absolutely. I agree 100%, Karina. And there's, again, yeah, everybody grows in their own way. I I have no say in how one grows, but I do have a say in the direction and in the way that I communicate with others. I either choose to or I don't. I never really I never really wanted to, you know, be on the butt end of a bad day that someone is going through, or never did I want to be on the butt end of a stick that, someone's swinging at all the time. But unfortunately, there's been several occasions, and I've never wanted anything bad to them to happen. I never wished them ill will. I don't want to be that one where I'm being negative in one way and yet projecting positivity in another. It doesn't make sense, and that I would be cheating myself of my true honesty if I were to do so. Now there may be some people that I may dislike for what I went through, but then again, I I don't I don't think about it, and it doesn't work on me like it used to. And I have a lot of people to thank in my circle that's happened to me. And here I'm self-professing my change, because I thought I would never be able to change because I was going through so many dark things at one point. And I had some great help and communication with others that shined a light that I just didn't see at the time, and I didn't see for the longest time. It's the ones that believe in you that truly see the change and know the genuine change in you. Change is the inevitable, and I'll explain my version. It's either life will change you in ways that are not good for you. Let's say you're continuing in your active addiction, picking up DUIs, under the influence, possession. Now you have no control, because now the courts have control of your actions, of your direction. You cannot do that. You are under the thumb of a judge, okay? Think of it that way. So change inevitable. It's going to go either way with the direction that you're going. Now, you decide not to drink, and you really made that commitment to yourself and your loved ones that you want to change, and you're truly changing by going through the motions, going through the channels you need to, however you do it. That is change. That is change because you think differently, you act differently, and those are good changes because now life is limitless. Doors open where you thought that they were closed. Networking is in abundance because you surround yourself with good people, like-minded people, creative people, and the people that want to give you the best of everything for your life because you've changed. Now flip that around. If you weren't, you wouldn't have this opportunity. And I'm speaking personally, but I know it happens for others the same way too. And I'm going to reference a little bit here, and I feel it's strong enough to talk about. I don't I never felt I never felt when my son was going through his active stage of addiction. I never looked at it like he's n- I never in my mind I knew he was gonna break through. I knew it. I just knew it from day one. And I supported him in many ways with the positive attitude and giving him these seeds of hope that I thought I felt that it sat on deaf ears, and it didn't. But I kept on planting that seed year after year after year after a situation. Grab him and hold him and just give him advice and let him know that this isn't the way. These aren't your friends. These are acquaintances. They're no good for you. Trust me, you won't even know who they are in years to come when you clean up your life because they're gonna have nothing for you. Sure enough, here we are. You know, I see that, and to hear that, Dad, everything you ever told me is right here. Don't think that I never heard because I did. And then he started feeding me back to what I told him then. He goes, I didn't want to acknowledge it because I knew you were right. And and it's not that I was trying to come at him to, to, to convince him I was right. I was trying to convince him that these are the facts of your life, of where you're going to be if you don't stop. Trust me, son. I've walked this road for you. I paved this road for you so to make it safe. I know what you're going through. And that's why I do what I do is I share with people the road that I was on so it one day to inspire one to know that they want to avoid that road is amazing.
I love that story. I just want to also go back a moment, Richard, and say, what's it like for you now to see, instead of you looking at yourself and knowing you've changed and seeing yourself within your community and how things changed within the community. Now you're looking at your son and seeing how he's come through, how he's recovered. How are you seeing it now, and how is it different? Or is it?
Oh yeah, it is truly different. You know, it is. I'm I'm viewing and seeing my son and others because he's got a handful of people around him that are mentors, that are sponsors, that are people are in the same way, in the motion of change, bettering their lives. And I'm getting pictures, seeing this, and I'm just so blown away in a way that I'm not in shock that it happened. I knew it was going to happen, and I'm just happy to be in the midst of his happiness. And I told him, I messaged him one day that I said, I want to thank you, son, for giving me back my life. Knowing that you're okay, knowing that you are doing what you were supposed to be doing, becoming that father, becoming that son, brother that you were destined to be. You have given my life back where there was no worry, no strain, no wondering where you're at, wondering if you're in the morgue, wondering if you're in the ER because you overdosed again, wondering where you're at because I haven't heard from you in a week. Thank you, son. So I see things differently now. I feel things differently now, and that's the beautiful thing about it. And I want to share this with everyone. It's not because he's my son. I feel the same when I hear others change, when I hear their story, when I hear where they've been and where they're at now. I am genuinely in awe, you know, because it's such a disaster to see one's life wasted because of choices. That's that's the hard part. But to see the change, yeah, it, it's amazing. Really is.
Now that's exciting. Congratulations. I'd like to say congratulations to that. Uh, how has it changed your life now going forward?
It's changed my life where I wake up and I know he's okay and I know he's doing well. So there's no worry. I go through my day, I don't even think about it. We're in touch messaging each other. If I don't message him in a couple days, he doesn't message me in a couple days, we're good. I know he's good.
Yeah.
He's busy. He's working. He's working and he's doing his commitment. He's doing everything he's supposed to be doing. And not only that, I know he's in touch with his brother and sister and his son and his mom. That I'm just one of his I'm just one of his connections in a way. Like I have a network now. I'm not going to always be the number one network, and I don't need to be because I let him go, so to speak. I try to hold him in the palm of my hand for the longest time, and then I just had to let go. And to know that he's doing well, that's what's changed my inner being. I can't even begin to explain how it felt then, but I don't have to go there because I'm not there anymore. I'll share that at another venture we were on. But I'm speaking of the now, and it feels so good to be in the now. And I feel proud as a father to be in his company, to be in his circle, and to watch him live a life that is truly blessing. You know, truly blessings are hitting him always, you know? So yeah, it has changed me and it has changed my my whole thought process on a lot of different topics and a lot of different people. That's what's changed.
So then, what is your view then on second chances? Because
What's my What's
Yes, because
my
your
view?
son has your perception of second chances changed now with
Oh yeah,
seeing the way your son is
yeah. Oh yes,
thriving
yes, yes,
because he's
yes,
been
yes.
given a second chance on life, right?
Yeah, yeah. You know, I think that was always me. I think I've always given someone, or yeah, I've always given someone one, two chances, and after that, it was pretty much like kind of done. Some I gave a billion chances to, you know, but I've always believed that second chances because I'm living proof. I mean, I've had thousands of chances as well, to others that so I know that feeling. So yeah, I'm a firm believer on second chances. I'm a firm believer on a lot of chances until someone hurts you, until someone disrespects you and hurts you to the point of no turning back, of being in their circle, being in contact with them. So yeah, absolutely, second chances are a given, and I think everyone should be open to that. And you know, I believe it.
Okay, so let's go back to the original question. Do people change?
Yes, people do change. 99.9% people do change. There's a very small percentile out there. Hey, I don't I don't take stats. It's just my opinion in some of the ones that I've dealt. That's all I can say. But for the most part, yes, people do change. And people can change.
And is change a choice?
Yes. Change is a choice from within. But like I said before, change is inevitable. It can either go one way or the other, depending on your actions. If you're doing if you're doing things that are going to attract discipline and you're caught up in it, then of course that's uncontrolled change. Change was decided by someone else because of your actions. But yes, on the other hand, change for someone that decides, they sat down, they realized, and they took a good hard look at the life they lived, and they said, I don't want to live this life anymore. I need to change my life in order to change my direction. So yes, change is a choice to some, you know? But then, you see, that's a great question, Karina. That I don't think there's really a direct answer or a solid answer for that, because I'm looking at this in two perspectives. I'm going back because of my son, and this is how he inspires me. Because for the longest time, I would whisper to him, or hold him, Josh, I, I can get you. I can get you into a program. We can get you into a rehab. And he didn't want to. But Dad, I'll do that when I'm ready. When are you going to be ready? I don't know, Dad. And so it took change in another way that stopped him in his tracks, that made him take a hard look at himself. And this is what I'm saying: change comes to you in many directions. Whether you like it or not, it did ultimately, at the end of the day, change him. And that's what's inspiring, because he was faced with something, and he took the initiative and says, you know what? No, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. and I'm going to get through this. And as every day goes by and every goes by, Karina, he gets stronger, greater, more in control. No more the impulse of a lashback or word. It's now registered, thought about, processed, then reacts. That right there is truly an amazing change that I've witnessed and got to see him go through. So,
Now
yeah.
that's amazing, and a lot of times I know for myself, a lot of times we think as parents that we are teaching our children, but many times, if we're really honest with ourselves and we look at it from a holistic point of view, we can see how much our children teach us along the way, even when they're toddlers. How has this affected you, and how much have you learned from your son? I mean, I know you've gone through that path already, and we know that recovery is different. Your recovery is different to his, it's different to everybody.
Oh,
It's a very
yeah.
individualized kind of thing. Yet, what have you, as Richard the parent, learned from Josh, your son, through this
Yeah.
process?
Yeah. Yeah. I've learned that patience, patience and persistence in believing in one's change is truly worth the wait. I, I I may have went through some times with him that were uncomfortable, but I wouldn't change it for the world because what I witnessed at the end was truly remarkable. I've learned from him to take life one as it comes. And I've learned from him the understanding of being being me, accepting who I am as his parent because I may not have always been the perfect father, but to have that forgiveness from him because of what he went through, of what his mom and I put him through. And I've learned from him that I was a better parent than I thought I was. And and how I beat myself up of not thinking I was strong enough for them. Well, he cleared that up to me, as well as my other kids that I'm in contact with. So yeah, that's what he's given to me. That's what he's taught me and shared with me. And it's amazing hearing that, you know? It's amazing hearing that from your children. I was just trying to be the best I could be under the circumstances that we were both under. We were both surviving in a way that we knew the best we could. Myself in active recovery, and when my son was in his active addiction, we were both going through it. And now that he's living his life, he's now dealing with his son, being that role model, being that authoritative figure, being that one that is stable, and that is a staple in my grandson's life. And I hear the stories going back and forth, and I'm thinking, this story sounds familiar. huh. And then he realizes, yeah, Dad, I used to do that to you. Yeah. So now your son's doing it to you. And these are funny things that we discuss, but it's just so beautiful to hear that. And one one parent's life to another as it goes from generation to generation to generation. It's just it's beautiful to know that a lot of the things that I shared with him and the way that I live has inspired him. And now he can inspire his son. From the very beginning, I told him, because I think I I invested so much money in him, and I never looked at money in any way. And I told him, I never want a cent back from you, son. All I want from you is I want for you to be a good person. I want for you to be a good father. That's payback enough, because now you have your life back. And I'm looking forward to seeing him on or before Christmas,
Nice.
because there was so many years where he was incarcerated during the holidays on his birthday. So we really couldn't spend time with him, or he was out doing his thing and never around. So he's going to be spending time with his brother and sister and his mom, and I'm really just so happy. And his son, is it just I'm I'm just I'm just so in awe right now. If you can't tell, I'm just like in awe. And this is with everyone. I'm happy for all of them. And before we close out, I just wanted to share with you that no matter what you're going through out there, if you're in a world of seeing someone transform into an amazing human being because they've actively taken that role in walking a sober journey, and you get to see others that were doubtful now united and supporting and cheering on and loving each other, and you're sitting in the midst of that. And Karina, you mentioned something about that our children teach us. Yes, they do. And I had a brief lesson that I was able to teach my mom because of the unity of my kids where there was discord. I've always believed a parent's place is to unite the kids that are not together. And I've always done that with my kids. As I saw them alone, I would always put a good word in about the other to make change, regardless if I got feedback from them. No, no, I'm never good. I'm never good. I'm never. And I think by my mom seeing and hearing my story with my kids, I think there was a, a pivotal change in the way that things are now in her life with my younger brother and myself, that she finally stepped up and says, hey, Rick's coming over to the house. You can either stay home, come here, or not. And she took that step where she didn't before. And I think the change in me sharing that and knowing that that exists, anything is possible. And I'm not saying my brother will never change. I reminded my mom I go, if I ever got a phone call from him, I would be the first one there, right?
Mm, mm.
Unfortunately, at this time, it's not in his way. That's not his way of thinking. But I'll accept it. I'll accept where we're at right now. But I just wanted to share that because change is possible.
I
Change
love
is
this.
definitely possible. So I wanted to share that with you in closing. And thank you again so much, Karina. I really do
Before you
appreciate
go,
that.
I want to ask you one more question. Before you go, um, we're speaking about your son, and he's got a son. You've got a grandson. Congratulations! That's very cool. Now, if we look at at the full picture of your family, right? You've got substance use within the family. You were. I mean, I'm not talking about your past. You were a substance abuser or user, and so was your son. Do you think your son's broken that pattern now, so that your grandson is safe? And I'm using safe also very broadly because that's probably the easiest word to use right now.
Oh, yes, yes. That right there, that generational curse has been stopped. It stopped with me, grabbed my son, healed my son in a way. It's stopping that before his son, my grandson, sees all that. He knows about it. Very smart boy, 11 years old. And so, yeah, yes, I believe that. I believe that he is the stop and he is the end of that road for that a- addiction placement, if you will. Because I'm looking back and I'm thinking about my father, my biological father. And it went from him to me to my sons and my daughter at one point. And here we are. Yeah.
Well, that is a beautiful way to end this because that is victory on its own. Because now
Yes.
you have a whole new future. You have possibilities that perhaps your son never had at that age because of whatever the things were. So, congratulations, Richard. This is a really awesome day really for you
Yeah.
and opportunity, and I can see you on top of the world, which is great. Your energy is so bright and excited, so
Thank you, Karina.
congratulations and many blessings for the rest of the year and of course next year.
Absolutely. Yeah, we'll definitely talk soon. And listen, we gotta definitely get together here with another podcast. And I can't wait. And thank you so much. Thank you so much for having me, Karina. I really do appreciate it. And thank you all.
Thank you, Richard. Thank you all, and have an awesome day, and we'll see you soon.
Okay. Bye bye.
Bye for now.